Well, I thought we would start where we left off for a few minutes and then go into some different territory, but start at the end of interview part one. There were a few questions from that follow up. And one viewer asked, and I thought this was a very interesting question. They mentioned that you said you saw Bill Keith filling in for Earl Struds with Flat and
Yeah,
Struds.
yeah.
And there was a question of who else did you see or were aware of that filled in for Earl? Who were some of his other subs that you
Oh,
know of?
I don't
Oh,
know.
okay,
I
sure.
remember that happened. I remember, I remember a few names, but gosh, no, I'm not the right person to ask.
Okay. And
Um,
then there was another similar question of if you had been around Flat and Struds personally or Bill Monroe, either of them.
Bill Monroe, definitely.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
um, yeah, Bill Monroe. Well, as I mentioned, I go, Tex Logan and I,
Oh, right,
God
right.
bless him, we're one great friends,
Sure.
And every year, Tex had a party at
Yeah.
his on his property there, which was this beautiful old home with a sprawling backyard.
Yeah.
And uh, the guest of honor at every party every year was Bill Monroe with his whole band.
Oh, wow.
You know, the bus would show up and park in the driveway.
Oh, man.
And this thing got underway, early afternoon or late morning, and it was a Texas barbecue.
Hmm.
Spread out, man. I mean, it was just the real deal. And and everybody would hang out outside and everything, and eventually it would move inside to Texas' wonderful den area,
Mm.
and people would start playing. It was kind of like a show, It wasn't
Right.
just people randomly playing in the corner someplace. It was people were seated and in my case on the floor.
Oh, man.
And in fact, there's a photograph in the first issue of Bluegrass Unlimited for 2021 with a
Oh,
photograph
okay.
of from the party,
Mm.
and I'm in it and sitting on the floor.
Okay. All right. I'll
Um,
take a look at that. Yeah.
uh, but that's where I first saw Bill Monroe live, like
Mm. Okay.
6 feet away from him playing with his band.
Right.
And then and Doc Watson was there.
Oh, wow.
So I tell people it was like going to this party was like walking into your record collection.
Right.
And
About what year was that?
oh, mid '60s.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Um,
Just amazing.
yeah, but I just would mention that I saw Bill Monroe and Doc Watson at Texas playing a duo set,
Yeah.
and I understood that they had never played together,
Wow.
but they just played it like they come from that tradition.
Yeah.
Played
Yeah.
it together like they'd been rehearsing it forever. It was just unbelievable.
Oh, that's really fascinating because, I wonder how the timeline is then because there was that CD, I think it was made from two live concerts on Smithsonian that came out
Yes,
of Bill and Doc together.
yes.
So that must have been after that then, I guess.
Either that or it was recorded there because,
Maybe,
um,
yeah.
the wonderful manliness Ralph Rinsler,
Oh, sure, sure.
he recorded it. I mean, he had a
Yeah.
whole rig with headphones and everything. So I
Yeah.
suspect that it was Ralph's recording that ended
Okay.
up on that.
Wow. Oh man, that's amazing. Yeah, that's just yeah, absolutely. Well, Doc got to not only make an album with Bill Monroe, but also did that album with Flat and Struds too. So man, he got
Yeah,
what a legendary guy he was.
He kind of
Um,
reminded me of the Skags and Rice um,
sure. Yeah.
collaboration there, where where they did all those spirituals.
Right. Right.
Uh, out of it, it sounded very traditional. That's how it was done, and
Yeah.
that's how Bill and Doc came across when they.
Right. Right. It seems to be there's a new found interest, I would say, in the Skags and Rice album because I keep seeing comments like, "Oh, I didn't know this ever existed," or "Why didn't they make two of these?" So I probably, well, just same with Rounder 0044. I think if they had made another one of those and then another Skags and Rice, they'd be hot sellers too. But
Yeah, yeah.
just a quick tidbit. What shocked me was I saw California Autumn from Tony just was reissued, remastered, and reissued with liner notes from Tim Stafford. And he mentioned, and I had no idea about this, that Tony was only 23 when he made that album. And that's just beyond words. I mean, man, we're all behind. It's like, oh, man. Just, I had no clue about that fact. And I really did not want to know that either.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Oh, man. Um, Another question that came in was with you being the musical arranger, someone asked where the idea for the two mandolins in the DGQ came from. If that was David's idea or if that
Oh,
was your
totally. Dave.
suggestion
Yeah,
or
yeah. That was part of his concept.
uh-huh. The final question someone asked from the previous video is if you have there seems to be well, mostly because of Tony, but then there's even a newly discovered video of Bill Monroe playing one. There's a lot of interest all of a sudden in Ovations, which is really fun to
Oh,
me. But there was a question if you had played an Ovation that you really had enjoyed in the past.
yeah. I had an ovation for about 3 or 4 years
Hmm.
that I liked very much.
Yeah.
Um, and I played Tony's
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit when we were hanging out.
Right.
Um, yeah, but I liked them very much.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were
Great.
very playable.
Right.
I
Yeah.
remember the necks. I remember the necks on the Ovations. They were all similar
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
And as a a jazz enthusiast, I felt that they were more comfortable to play
Oh, yeah.
that jazz on than say the typical Martin neck.
Right.
Um,
Right.
except for
Yeah.
Tony's, which was like
Right.
butter. It was just
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
great.
Right.
And
What?
my
Uh-huh.
MC28 is also a wonderful axe for
Yeah.
playing.
Was that something you developed in conjunction with Martin, or was it one they already had, and
No,
then you just?
it um, my friend Peter Becker, who takes care of all my guitars
Mm-hmm.
and worked for Mandolin Brothers
Oh, yeah.
for like 10 years downstairs fixing guitars and from all over the world.
Right.
Um, um, he knew that I was looking for a flat top,
Mm-hmm.
and that thing came into Mandolin Brothers. And he called me up. He said, "I think your guitar just got arrived."
Oh, okay.
I,
All
I,
right.
I drove in and sat down and played it, and I said, "Yeah." So I bought it from Mandolin Brothers.
And how long have you had that? You've had that quite a while now.
Yeah, I guess, gosh, I don't know, 20 years.
Yeah. What guitar were you using when you were at Berkeley and at that time?
Um, I had a green Gretsch anniversary,
Hmm. Okay. Sure.
and that that was a smoking guitar, man. I really like that guitar. I wish I still had it. Uh,
Right.
and I took the, I played a lot of gigs in Boston on that guitar.
Yeah.
And when I graduated from Berkeley, uh, Bill Levitt got me recommended me for a gig in the show Grease,
Mm-hmm.
and I toured the show Grease with that Gretsch anniversary. It was the perfect axe for Grease.
Oh, sure. So you got a lot of time in on that guitar,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
um, okay. Well, thinking about Berkeley era, one of the things that I've really focused a lot on these interviews and videos is just the musical tastes and such. So I was curious, what were your tastes and what was on your record player around the time that you were at Berkeley and kind of that era? What was your biggest musical enjoyments around that time?
Not too far from what they are today.
Okay, that's
Uh,
awesome.
you know, hardly far at all. In fact,
Oh wow.
I was listening to bluegrass. I was listening to Bill Keith. I was listening to Chick Corea,
Mm-hmm.
Bill Evans, John McLaughlin. I was a big fan of the Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Oh sure,
I got
sure.
to see them live 3 or 4 times in Boston.
Oh wow.
Um, and I really loved his acoustic album, My Goals Beyond,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
uh, which is fun. Goals is spelled Goal''S.
Hmm.
Um, and I really liked his acoustic sound and what he did with that guitar.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
and I was into Django, and
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to a lot of classical music too, and I still am. Those are still my three mainstays are classical, bluegrass, and jazz.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I
absolutely.
pop too. I mean, I would spend a lot of time listening to Sergeant Pepper and Revolver and all those great Beatles CDs. And
Sure,
um,
absolutely. Yeah.
when I was on tour with the Ice Capades,
Oh, sure, yeah.
um, there were three of us that toured. Uh, uh, Myself, and I had an assistant conductor who played keyboards and a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we would, frequently go out after the show into whatever town we happened to be in. And by the way, we had a live new band every week.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So I had to teach or go through the show in a 2 hour union rehearsal,
Hmm.
2.5 hour show. So I had that thing down to
Yeah.
where, no, I didn't want any questions. So I had the books marked,
Yeah.
start here, stop here, so we could get that rehearsal done. And we got to know the musicians, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and they would recommend, oh, you got to hear this piano player at this place, or
Mm.
whatever, this guitar player. So we would go into the towns and hear these underappreciated monster players,
Oh, sure.
uh, and frequently got to sit in with them.
Oh, nice.
So that was a lot of something we look forward to in all the different cities.
Yeah.
But
How many?
names don't come to me.
Yeah.
But as we go forward, if I think of
Sure.
something, I'll break in with it.
How many places were how many dates were on that tour approximately? I like was it, like every night and doing stuff?
It was 9.5 months,
Wow.
a week in every city,
Okay.
and there were three companies
Mm-hmm.
touring for 9.5 months each.
Hmm.
So I don't know, what's that, 30 something cities,
Yeah.
which when you put them all together, that's 90 cities. And there was an A, a B, and a C company.
Hmm.
The A company played all the big city venues. The
Oh,
B company played, medium-sized cities, and the C company played, smaller cities.
sure, sure.
Um, and I did all three of those tours,
Hmm.
one point or another.
Oh man.
I started out on the A company as the assistant conductor
Mm-hmm.
to a very, very talented guy named Michael Marr, who, by the way, composed one of the tunes on River Sweet,
Oh, okay.
called Unknown Emotion.
Hmm.
Michael and I are still great friends.
Yeah.
Uh, and then he left the show, and I got his gig as the conductor. But what they do is the new show plays in the A company. That always gets the new show, which goes down to the B company, which goes down to the C company. So they put me on the second year. I guess I was assistant for 2 years, whatever. But when they made me conductor, they put me into the C company. So I had to do the same show.
Oh.
Up to the B company, and I had to do the same show.
Oh, wow.
And then they moved me to the A company. I stayed there for like 5 or 6 years.
Wow. Let's talk about that a second. So were you, was that the first full gig you were doing as a conductor, or were there things before that you were doing as a conductor?
No, and that was the lure of that to me. I had graduated Berkeley. I studied arranging, orchestration, and all that, but I did take a conducting course.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that was a requirement, because I had to go through two semesters of it, and I figured you probably had to do at least one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the conductor was a wonderful
guy, good.
Hieronymus Koscinskis. But in the Ice Capades, I played two seasons in the Ice Capades as assistant conductor. Then I left the Ice Capades to work with the David Grisman Quintet. No, with the Great American Music Band.
Sure,
and when that band broke up, I reached out to the Ice Capades after a year or so because I had never had the conductor gig.
Right.
And when I left the Ice Capades, was in very good terms, and so he hired me. I got back as conductor, and I forgot the question.
No, I was just asking about your time as a conductor.
Oh yeah.
And I'll also ask. I'm assuming it's a yes, but since you did it for so long, but I'm assuming it's something that you enjoyed doing.
It was a challenge every night. I mean, we did. The show was clicked. 2.5 hours clicked, and I had headphones. And I would hear 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Sure.
Stop, temporal. And then I have to look at the Dorothy Hamill spinning around and stop the chord when she stopped spinning, and I saw her wrist go like this. Push a button, which started a tape on the other corner of the ice.
Oh, wow.
Which it was a double tape machine run by, an audio.
Yeah.
Our audio guy. And then I would hear the next cue and have to give a chord, stop it, push the button, hear the next cue. So it would go something like this. Be conducting a tune. Dorothy would stop. I'd stop the band. I'd give a temporal. She'd spin around. I'd have to catch her so that the music stopped as I pushed the button, get the count off during the blackout for her bow, so that the music would begin when the lights were restored. So it would be like stop, temp cue, push the button, stop the temp, play, give the chord, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now we're in 3, 1, 2, 3, chord, stop, 2, 3, and 1. Now we're in 2. That, temporal, chord, stop. Next one, 4, 3, 4.
You had way more to do than just simply conducting.
A lot to do.
Man.
Pieces of new musicians every week.
Yeah.
We'd play a rehearsal on Tuesday afternoon, we'd open the show Tuesday night, play Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, 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 Sunday, Sunday.
Mm.
Uh, my wife and I lived in a motorhome.
Mm.
We had the motorhome hooked up to the arena.
Right.
Between shows on Sunday, I'd rip off my tux,
Yep.
go outside, pack up the motorhome, put my tux back on, which I wore long johns under because I'd be on a stand on top of the ice.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
And hit the road.
What about the musicians? Were they also, was it a problem for like keeping stuff in tune, or was that more?
No, they were all, professional players. Now, the band at Garden, at the Garden in New York is going to be a different band than the band in Boise.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
But those guys would normally be teachers in the
Oh,
college.
sure.
The great players, So
And you said these were all union gigs.
yes,
Wow. That's amazing.
it was all union.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
the Ice Capades was a top-rated show. It was owned by Metro Media at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and good company to work with. And we got, the benefits were terrific. And
Sure.
the
Sure.
pension gig, which was, hey, how come you were out on the road so long?
Yeah.
Well, duh.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, so obviously you went on to do a lot more conducting and arranging things after that.
Well,
I'm sure.
I loved conducting,
Great.
and I worked very hard at it, at being clear, clean, and and communicating with the musicians.
Right. Right.
Being a good leader.
Mm-hmm.
And, taking care of the unexpected, being able to do like a power outage. Uh-oh.
Right. Yeah. Well,
or
like we
a skater falling or something happening. I mean,
yeah. Like you briefly mentioned yesterday on our call about the having a jazz knowledge within a bluegrass context. I imagine that you were probably the main go-to person for a lot of these things. For example, like the string arrangement on the Mondo Mando album and things like that, because it certainly exists in bluegrass. I mean, these are on records. There's a lot of there was an era where a lot of orchestras were on every record, but the majority of bluegrassers obviously are not going to Berkeley and learning the orchestration skills.
Well, they are now.
Yeah. But I bet you probably were quite busy for a long time there with those types of requests.
And I stay busy, and it was always like a dream for me to be able to take everything that I learned at Berkeley and before from, I was born in a classical music household, but, and apply it to acoustic instruments.
Right.
Which is what David was doing.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
That band was capable of playing phenomenal bluegrass, but that's not really what all that band was about.
Right.
Sambas and bossa novas and swing, and so for me it was a fantastic thing to be able to write for such great players.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then none less the Kronos Quartet of all people. I mean, man,
that was terrific.
Some true giants there.
I was able to get them to do that on Mondo Mando.
Yeah.
And we got the Tonight Show band. You got to play dog jazz.
I didn't realize that's who that was. Okay.
Yeah, that was the Tonight Show band.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Tommy Newsom, and
okay.
That was a thrill.
Mm-hmm.
And you were on that meeting
Yeah.
yesterday, and my friend Bruce Glover,
Mm-hmm.
he conducted that session.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. That's
I was on
great.
the road with the Ice Capades. I wrote the chart,
Uh-huh.
hotel rooms, mailed it in. David needed a leader
Yeah.
because Doc Severinsen wasn't doing it. He was, in fact, he was not on that session,
Mm-hmm.
or he was not. Tommy Newsom was on it, but I guess I'm talking about the recording of Dog Jazz.
Yeah.
Uh, I recommended Bruce
Mm-hmm.
Glover to David, so David reached out, and that's how Bruce got that gig.
Were those were both halves of that record recorded back to back, or were like, because there was the Dog Jazz and then the Dog Grass with Tony
Yeah,
and
right, right.
what?
I don't know the answer
Mm.
to that. I was out there
Yeah, sure, sure,
somewhere.
sure. I remember now, he even had Struds on that record, which I remember
Yeah,
reading, which was he was really proud of that, getting Struds on there.
yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
um, well, one thing you said about the sambas and bossa novas, that actually kind of leads into another question that I wanted to ask, which was about touring other countries. And so I was two parts to that question. I was curious uh, what tours you've done in other countries and how you like them, and then just also as a follow up, how the music that like how the American music was received in those countries you were touring, and how it went over.
Um, well, I did a tour of Japan with the Ice Capades for 16 weeks,
Wow.
4 months,
Wow.
16 cities. Um, and that was a very interesting tour, and I loved Japan. It was
Mm-hmm.
just fantastic. And to be able to be there for so long
Sure.
and see all these different cities and wander around through these, you know, multicolored light alleys and finding places to eat and places to
Yeah.
shop and all that, and meeting people. That was very cool. I like that
Oh,
a lot.
sure. Yeah.
Um, uh, and they liked, the ice show. I don't
Great.
know how many ice shows had ever toured Japan. I think it was the first for the Ice Capades. Um,
Sure. Yeah.
we had gold medalist Karen Magnuson from Canada with
Hmm.
us, and that was that was great. So we were out practically every night after, and we worked very hard. The
Yeah.
schedule in Japan was even harder than the schedule in the States,
Oh.
but we had 2 or 3 days between each week practically
Mm.
of time off. So we got to explore a lot.
What did a typical schedule look like each day?
Um, a, a lot of two-show days
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and weekends, sometimes what we call a six-pack.
Oh man. Oh boy.
Uh,
Yikes.
so, yeah, and we had a band. The band that traveled with us were all Japanese musicians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They were great.
Right.
Um, uh, Other countries, I haven't really done touring in other countries as a
Mm-hmm.
player,
Oh, okay. Sure.
except when I was in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
I circumnavigated South America
Oh, wow.
times
Wow.
for like
Okay.
5 months at a time on a destroyer leader
Mm.
in the Navy show band. I
Sure.
was very fortunate to be able to get into that band. Again, Bruce Glover was in that band.
Oh, okay.
He did a lot of writing for the band and played lead trumpet.
Mm.
Um, uh, but we were in the ship was the lead ship, the flagship. We had the admiral on board, and it was accompanied by a group of destroyers and a group of submarines and aircraft, and we would go around South America doing war games with various navies of other countries.
Oh, wow.
And the
Okay.
band, when they would go out to sea for like a week or 10 days, and the band would, we had our own, I think it was a C-134 or something, but we would go inland
Mm-hmm.
and play one nighter, one night stands in like 6 or 7, 8 cities, and
Mm-hmm.
meet the ship in the next port, do our laundry, and do it,
Yeah.
So, um, and I'm talking about 5,000, 10,000 people showing up for our shows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Every single show.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
They
you
loved.
you must have been playing big out, like outdoor arenas and such.
We played for the poorest neighborhoods you could imagine. We play all the way to, in the big cities. And then
Sure.
when the ship was in port, we would play officialdom.
Mm-hmm.
We'd go to the president of Colombia's home and play there with a combo or something.
Sure.
But on the tours, we played for the people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we would often be in a grass field,
Yeah.
sometimes with no electricity.
Okay. Okay.
And guitar players, um, we had 2 guitar players,
Mm-hmm.
myself and a friend of mine named Jerry Boyd. And we, they, for a lot of times, we would play guitar for when it was on stage and we were playing a show.
Yeah.
And playing like jazz charts, and we had vocalists and all that. But of course, we also had to play military music
Oh,
and
sure.
official kind of music.
Right.
So what do they could do with guitar players? They played a bass drum, a big bass drum, boom, boom, and 18-inch cymbals. Very big the bass drum, and I played the cymbals.
Okay.
But it was a show band.
Right.
So you didn't just go like this. You had to, I had straps attached to the cymbals. I would go like this and twirl the cymbals.
Oh, wow. So you were the cymbal player as well, not only the
Yeah,
guitar player.
yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah.
That's great. That is great. Hold on just a second.
And
There we go.
one time,
Mhm.
the leader of the show band, who was capable of giving you a cue sometimes unannounced, his cymbal cues kind of looked snapped up. I mean, this guy was a real veteran. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he was someone to be admired. He was he was there in Pearl Harbor and going forward. Anyway, he gave me a cue, and I got the cue, and then something he almost never did. He gave me another cue right away,
Hmm.
and I was still recovering from the first one, and I went boom, and I hit myself right in the lip with the cymbal.
Oh, no. Oh, man.
And it opened up. We're in our whites, and the band turns around and staring at me.
Oh.
So I had to take care of that.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Did you play for any American presidents?
We did not,
Hmm.
but we did play in the White House a couple of times.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good
Function.
enough. Good enough. One last major topic question for you, and then a few small ones. But the major one is I get a lot of questions with these videos about whether going to full 4 years at a music school is worth it or not. I get a ton of questions about that. And I'm very curious to pose that topic to you about the pros and cons of going to music school.
Yeah.
Or just self-study, going to workshops, lessons, things like that.
That's a personal decision. You have to, look inside yourself and say, is this what I want to do for my life, for my living?
Right.
And if it is, what do I want to do? I mean, do I want to be a great player? You don't have to go to music school to become a great player.
Yeah.
Just shed,
Right.
get
Right.
influenced by everybody, practice, get a teacher uh, if, a teacher always is going to
Yeah.
help that along. Um, I can only speak for myself. I wanted to learn how to arrange.
Mm-hmm.
I, reading music was important to me.
Right.
Um, I can't imagine not being able to read music, not being able to pick up a sheet of music and looking at it
Right.
and figuring it out just from looking at it, or a
Mm-hmm.
score of a fabulous orchestra, looking at the score. That's my idea of a good time on a weekend or something is
Right.
get the score of, say, the Concerto de Aranjuez by Rodrigo. You know that
Mm-hmm.
piece?
Yeah.
I have the score, put it on, watch the score, and be amazed at what I'm looking at.
Right.
Um, uh,
Absolutely.
that's important to me
Yes.
to be able to
Mm-hmm.
do that because I want to write that stuff as well.
Right.
Um, Herb Pomeroy, the wonderful Herb Pomeroy that I studied with at Berkeley, he
Yeah.
used to say, you want to be able to see with your ears and hear with your eyes.
Oh, that's an amazing quote. Oh
That's
man.
that's
Yeah.
that's the challenge. Um, but it doesn't. Uh, if you're like a bluegrass banjo player, why would you want to do that unless you
Yeah.
wanted to do that?
Right.
You can
Right.
go to Berkeley and major in bluegrass banjo. I
Yeah.
mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. When
Uh,
I was at Berkeley, that Herb Pomeroy was the name I probably heard mentioned more than any other name the
yeah,
entire and every professor always said it in the context of, oh, it's too bad that you guys couldn't study with him. Like it was always, just really building him up. So that was yeah,
yeah.
I heard that name at least once from every professor I had. So
I thank Herb Pomeroy every day,
yeah,
and I have
absolutely.
all my notes here.
Oh,
I have
sure.
them all. One thing I would say about if you're going to do that, if you decide that you want to go to music college, take the business course.
Oh, yes.
Take
Yes.
the business course.
Yeah.
Course. Learn about copyright. Learn about how to protect yourself. I did
Yeah.
not do that,
Mm-hmm.
and made a lot of mistakes going along.
Sure.
Um, how often do you hear, "Hey, man, that's my tune. I just heard it on Spotify."
Yeah.
I, you know, um, that's what this business group is all about.
Right.
Learning how
Right.
to learning how to play that game.
Yeah. Well, and and one that's changing pretty rapidly too.
Yeah,
So,
it's changing rapidly. I mean, when I was
yeah.
going to Berkeley, Lee Burke himself was
Yeah.
teaching a thing called legal protection for the creative musician.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Did I take the course? No.
Yeah, that I have to say I'm very similar to you in that because there were plenty of business courses that non-majors could have taken, but I did not. I think, I have no interest in well, they kind of presented it as like, this is for people that are really going to do this only. And I thought, well, I don't see myself doing this only. And then what was one of the first things I did after graduating was have a possibility to work within the business aspects. I said, "Oh man,
Yeah, yeah,
should have done that." But
yeah,
to your point, I've seen even like the most traditional conservatories are now bringing in like entrepreneurship classes and things like this because it's just absolutely a must. I mean, yeah, it
yeah.
has to be a
Uh,
part of that consideration. Absolutely.
right. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but when I was going to Berkeley, I had an opportunity to work 5 nights a week with a local kind of sort of a swing band.
No,
Um,
you didn't mention that.
I did.
No, uh-uh.
Oh, okay. Well, before I even started Berkeley, I
Mm-hmm.
was working in Boston at the Boston Music Company.
Hmm.
behind the counter. Um, and I was out one evening and went into a place. There was a live band there, and I thought, boy, these guys sound great. And I met the musicians, and
Hmm.
uh, they asked me to sit in.
Sure.
So I sat in with the band, and the leader gave me the gig.
Hmm.
so, so all of a sudden, I'm going to Berkeley, learning the stuff in the daytime and
Hmm.
playing it at night.
Oh, wow.
Uh, Literally learning
Yeah.
about the changes to tunes and standard tunes and work. A lot of the tunes we did were right out of the real book.
Yeah.
So, and I worked with that band on and off almost the whole time I was going to Berkeley. Um, so, needless to say, I burned a lot of midnight oil getting my homework done. Uh,
Yeah, I can imagine.
uh, but it was, a great experience, and there were some really fine players in that band.
Yeah. Where did you
I
live at
remember one
during?
night. Sorry, one
Oh,
night we were
uh-huh.
playing in a, the guy got us booked in these high end lounges in Boston.
Oh, wow.
We'd stay there for 5, 6 months, and one time was in the Prudential Center, and across the street from the Prudential Center was the old jazz workshop,
Hmm.
uh, and I think it was attached to a place called Paul's Mall. Well, across the street, while we're playing our gig that week, was Lenny Bro.
Hmm.
I did not get to see Lenny Bro because I was working, and
Sure.
wow, it
I
was
had, yeah, I
a
had
tough week.
a few of those moments at Berkeley too, where I was working once. The one that I really kicked myself for, I really should have just taken the day off or just walked out, was when on my last semester, T-Bone Burnett was there doing a presentation about production, and I think I really wanted to see that, but I was at work, so man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Wow, I know.
where were you living at during that time? Were you on campus or had an apartment in
No,
Boston?
I was very fortunate. I found an apartment in a lady's home,
Hmm.
a woman's home, on the second floor in Newton Center.
Oh, okay. Sure,
It's
sure.
about 4 stops uh, from Berkeley,
Yeah.
so it was perfect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was a quiet, green neighborhood.
Right, right. Oh, yeah. I know where you're talking about. Um, okay, last fun question. So tell me about
You
the
mean things are
most
going to take a turn for the worse?
no, tell me that this is the interesting link that you sent me, which I didn't see coming out of anywhere, was about the black belt. So
Oh,
how did that interest get started, and how long have you been pursuing
oh
that?
man, I've been doing that for like 40 years.
Wow.
Uh, I'm a practitioner of Subak Do.
Okay.
Um, uh, my first interest in karate uh, happened when I lived in Los Angeles. I lived in North Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my friend Jerry Boyd and I had a place there. This was when I was working with David's group, and I
Hmm.
would really commute up to San Francisco and stay there to Marin County and stay there for a couple of weeks, prepare whatever David needed prepared, and then I'd go back. Um, we we somehow took in a boarder for a spare room,
Mm-hmm.
and the boarder happened to be a second degree black belt in Taekwondo,
Mm.
which is uh, related very closely to Subakdo, which I study. And um, he was one tough hombre. His name was, and some people listening to this may know his name. His name was Randall Cobb.
Hmm.
Um, his handle was Tex
Hmm.
Cobb. Now he was a great guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he was second degree black, and we he started a class,
Yeah.
and Jerry and I got in his class, and it just seemed to fit for me. I loved
Mm.
working on the techniques and doing the forms and everything. And Randall, who was a huge guy,
Yeah.
um, he never hurt anybody. He was a wonderful guy, a great teacher. Uh, Here's the connection you may know. Do you remember the movie Raising Arizona? Nicolas Cage. It's an old
Oh,
movie.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, if you remember the bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
who at the end of the movie, he was a biker, and
Mm-hmm.
he kidnapped a baby or something. And at the end of the movie, he's got Nicolas Cage in a bear hug, and he's got a grenade on his belt.
Oh,
And Nicolas Cage pulled the pin, got away, ran away, and he blew up.
yeah.
That was Tex Cobb.
Okay. All right. Great. Great.
And he became a boxer while
Ah.
he was living with us. He became a heavyweight prize fighter and
Hmm.
would go out on for a bout. He'd be gone 3, 4 days, and he always won. He always won like first, second round knockouts. And then he climbed the ladder and he got a heavyweight shot with Larry Holmes.
Hmm.
And he went 12 rounds on his feet,
Wow.
lost by a decision. Anyway, uh, when I got back to New Jersey, I was in desperate need of a teacher.
Hmm.
And someone introduced me to a woman named Linda Moray, who is now the highest ranking female practitioner of Subak Do in the world. Subak Do is a wonderful worldwide organization that has all the good things you would associate with studying karate as a lifestyle.
Right.
All the ethical and moral and spiritual and health. It's all there.
Sure.
And it's all extremely quality controlled with wonderful instructors.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally got off the road, I continued to practice. Well, and in fact, I had a class in the Ice Capades of skaters.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got off the road, I went back to the Federation and began training again. And I continue now. And so I was able to test for my black belt 2 years ago.
Wow.
And then recently tested for my second degree, which I just got. And my third degree test will be 3 years from then. And 4 years after that would be my test for master.
Mm-hmm.
So one class at a time, brother.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. That's just amazing.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, a little. It's going in and out. Yeah, there we go. Wow, that's great.
Sorry.
It's
hard to do this with that thing. But that's my
Got it. Wow. There we go.
Nah, it's not doing it.
Here
it is.
Yeah. There we go. You did it at the right angle. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's really great. Yeah, that's
and amazing. I teach a children's class.
Okay.
Every Monday.
Great.
And I train. I went last night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning a new form. It's really the art. So we're constantly learning new things with our body.
Right. That's super. Great. Well, as things gradually open up and people are getting a little bit better, do you think there will be some workshops with you later this year, like Kaufman Camp or things like that? Do you think those will be?
I won't be at Kaufman Camp this year.
Okay.
I was there 2 years ago, and I taught 5-string banjo.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, great.
And yeah, Steve called me up and said, "I hear you play banjo. You want to?" Well, I have
Yeah.
to get it out of the case. Yeah. Uh,
Eh,
it's just a matter of opportunity.
Sure.
I don't get opportunity to play. Although now I'm just getting back into a little rehearsal band. So
Great.
we've been
Yeah.
getting together every couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that is
It's
that the one that
keeping it
took
going.
your 175 out for?
No, no, no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. This is a bluegrass band.
Oh, okay. Gotcha,
Yeah, no,
gotcha.
that was
Okay.
uh, that was a very interesting gig that just did last week for the
Yeah.
New Jersey Discovery Orchestra.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be it's a function that they're doing.
Sure,
And,
sure.
they're now, editing and whatever. So I
Yeah.
think there'll be some video of that available.
Okay,
Enjoyed that
great.
a lot. It was great.
Yeah.
And it was great to play the 175 again. That's a
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah. Uh, Lastly, I'll say I really enjoyed seeing after we did that video, and one of the fun topics on there was Tony's impersonations, and then you put that picture up of him doing an impersonation of you, which I really loved seeing after hearing about that. So that was fun.
Yeah. Oh boy, there's yeah.
Oh man, and then you mentioned River Suite again. I wanted to say my favorite tune from that is "It Takes a Thief." I just love that
Oh yeah,
tune.
yeah.
That is such a jam that you two get on that. Oh, I love that so
That
much.
is that is the one that I think opened up the harmonic possibilities on the fingerboard for Tony.
Hmm.
Um, during in the old days of the DGQ,
So you
Tony
two
and
had
I used
been
to get together.
uh-huh.
Um, I thought that would be a great tune for Tony to learn the changes to,
Sure.
because it's all two fives, but like minor 9 to 13, minor 9 to
Right.
13, down a half step. I mean a whole step, and then up to the four area. So uh,
Mm-hmm.
2 5, 2 5, 2 5, 2 5, 2 5,
Right.
four different keys.
Yeah.
So he just when I showed him that he took that to the moon.
Great.
He loved that. So we played that a lot.
Okay.
and
Great.
and I helped him see how you could use those chords and do different voicings and inversions, chordal possibilities. I think that was the tune that was the catalyst for
Hmm.
him to get into that style of playing.
That's wow. Little did I know that my favorite tune would have had so much history to it. Oh, that's awesome. And I heard the comments you mentioned on that live recording, so I actually went to YouTube to try to find that show because I did not know about that.
What's that?
That was the theme song, right? For a show.
Oh, I understand. Yes.
Right. So I had was never heard of it, so I had to go look it up, and I
Oh,
found
yeah.
it.
Dave Grusin wrote that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Good stuff. Yeah, I like your version. I like your two version much better than the
Oh,
original. But maybe I'm just a little biased on that. Well, let's see. I've got all of my questions taken care of for today. And everyone else's questions too.
oh, good.
But and if there was anything else that you would like to approach today, um, otherwise I think we got it all covered.
Did I say take the business course?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Uh,
That's super important. Yeah.
I don't know. It just came to me when you mentioned conducting
Yeah.
that much later on,
Mm-hmm.
uh, through my association and friendship with Butch Baldessari,
Oh yes. Yes.
uh, Butch asked me to conduct the CD Plectrusonics.
Right.
Boy, do I wish that was out there. And boy,
Yeah.
did I enjoy that gig. Uh, that was, I think, my, the most enjoyable conducting challenge. I think,
Right.
Ice Capades was a training ground. This was
Right.
like really conducting music to this wonderful orchestra.
Right. Right.
Mandolas,
Hmm.
mandocellos, bass, and guitar. Um, and I was able to even, when I rehearsed that ensemble,
Right.
are you gotta run?
No, 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 no. It's okay. Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to mention that there are how many sound levels in music there's triple forte
Right.
all the way down to triple pianissimo.
Right.
Um, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, whatever, how many of them there are.
Yeah.
I warmed up the orchestra with every single dynamic marking. I'd say, give me a double P, boom, give me a triple P. Uh, and it's not quiet enough. Really get your quietest pianissimo, boom, and they would play it. Now that would triple forte, boom, so that it got them in touch with every dynamic level.
Yeah.
Uh, and then we would do tremolos, group tremolos at those levels.
Mm.
Uh, it was like tuning the orchestra to be able to play those, to do the phrasing
Right.
and follow the dynamic markings. That
Yeah.
was a wonderful part of it. Um,
Sure.
uh, and I do that now with my own ensembles when I
Hmm.
work with them. But that was a fantastic experience. And I love doing the theme from Star Trek.
Oh. Yeah, you know what? I know exactly what you're talking about now because I played that when I used to be a radio host at Berkeley. That was our we did that, we played that track a lot
Oh,
on
you
our
did?
radio. We did, yeah. I had no idea you were involved with that. Wow, that's so
Yeah, I
cool.
conducted it, and that's my guitar solo on that track as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's man, that's full circle completely. I because I oh, one of our listeners said was always trying to challenge us with these, weird requests, and they said do some type of acoustic recording of
Yeah,
Star Trek. So I started just searching, and that was the first one that came up. So we sure did it.
yeah, yeah, I love that recording.
Yeah, I imagine that. Uh, did Butch also have a lot of similar background as you, like with being able to arrange and conduct?
Um, well, he wasn't an arranger, but he
Mm,
certainly was a literate
yeah,
musician in terms of being able to follow scores, reading parts,
sure,
um,
sure,
knowing what was going on,
right.
being able to, he understood orchestration.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, Butch, he had it.
Yeah.
But
All right. I think that, man, my brain is full again, so I think we better stop for today.
stop me.
Uh, but thank you for that. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Matt. I'm
Really,
enjoying this a lot. Yeah,
yeah.
thanks.
So that's great. I think I hope all the viewers who saw part one will see part two with any.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again.